Peter, the rock. That is what Jesus called me one day. Jesus had asked me who it was I believed him to be. I said, "You're the chosen one, the Son of God." I was a proud man that day, the rock of Jesus Christ. Now that I've had time to think about it, I don't want to be the rock. I'm not strong enough. I'm not educated. I'm too impulsive. I speak before I think. I run away when trouble comes. Just a few weeks ago, when Jesus was arrested and dragged before the high priest for a trial, I just sulked around in the shadows for fear of being arrested as well. Even when a woman said she recognized me as one of Jesus' followers, I denied knowing him, not once, twice, but 3 times. You see, I am no rock. Even on the day Jesus was crucified on that cross, I hid way in the back and blended into the crowd. After it was over, I gathered some of the other disciples and went into seclusion in a room and hid for being fear of arrested and placed on trial, or even crucified. Friday before the Passover Sabbath was the day Jesus was died and buried. Soon, the women and other followers found us and joined us in seclusion. All weekend, we cried, hid, and mourned the loss of our leader. Early Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene took a couple of women, gathered some oils and spices, and headed for the tomb to complete Jesus' burial process. A short time later, Mary came bursting into our gloomy room, shouting, "Jesus is alive! He's risen as he promised. I've seen him. He is alive." That can't be right. She's just hysterical. So another disciple, John, and I pulled on our cloaks and raced to see for ourselves. Sure enough, the tomb was empty except for a man in white who said, "Why are you seeking Jesus among the dead? He's alive." We ran back to the room to tell the others, and we were talking and yelling. And suddenly, there with us was Jesus standing right there. Unbelievable. We talked, yelled, and worshiped our risen Lord. And Jesus asked for breakfast. So we ate. Over the next few weeks, we saw Jesus several times, and he reminded us of his teachings and his instructions. Then at his instruction, we went to Galilee, and we waited for him. It seemed as though he was never coming. The longer he delayed, the more I had time to reflect on my denials and my failures. The guilt was overwhelming, so heavy. I had to get my mind off of it. So I said, "Let's go fishing." We spent the night on the lake and caught nothing. As the sun began to rise, we made our way back towards the shore. Some man called us, "Have you caught anything?" The man didn't wait for an answer. He just yelled, "Cast your nets on the other side of the boat." After grumbling a bit, we cast one more time, and our nets were so full we almost sank. At that time, John yelled, "Peter, it's the Lord." I pulled on my robe, jumped into the water, and tried to swim, tumbled onto the shore at Jesus' feet. Jesus lifted me up and called the others and said, "Let's eat." After visiting and eating, Jesus looked at me and pointed to the fish, the nets, and the boats, and he asked, "Peter, do you love me more than these things?" My mind was shouting, "I don't want to be the rock," but my heart responded, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." To which he replied, "Then feed my sheep." Jesus asked, pointing to the other followers on the shore, "Peter, do you love me more than these?" Again, I thought, I don't want to be the rock. But my heart responded, "Yes, Lord, I love you more than these." And Jesus then said, "Feed my lambs." A third time, Jesus asked, while gesturing as if to include the entire world, "Peter, do you love me more than these?" By this time, I thought Jesus was not satisfied with my other answers. I cried, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep." Jesus then led us to a small mountainside where we stood and watched him climb. As we walked, all sort of thoughts ran through my mind, the main thing being that 3 times I denied Christ on the night of his crucifixion. And 3 times today, he made me pledge his love to him. 3 times, the same. Jesus turned and looked at us and said, "Now go into all the world and make disciples. Baptize them, teach them all that I have taught you, and remember that I will be with you always." Just then, Jesus disappeared into the clouds. As we made the journey back to Jerusalem, I thought, I am Peter, the rock.